Hi, and welcome once again to Ivy English. I'm Karen.
And I'm Chris Gorski.
Today is November 18th, and we're on page 44 in your magazines. And today we have a really interesting topic, and it's something that may make you suddenly kind of cover your mouth.
That's right. We have a topic here about the way you breathe and how it can identify you. And when I read this, I realized, this is totally true because I've heard myself breathing before. And when I'm here close to a microphone, I alter the way I breathe because I often have a stuffy nose, not because I'm sick, but because of my sinuses, because of my allergies. And I will do like a little sniff, and I'm sure people hear it. I was never aware of it until I heard myself doing it on a recording, and I said, don't do that. That's terrible to listen to. And so our topic today is a way your breathing can identify you. I'm guessing if you really know me, you could guess my breathing.
The first thing I think of is, do I need a breath mint? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm really self-conscious about my breath too. And my friends think I'm strange for always brushing my teeth. But I remember being a kid and my teacher just having I don't know what they ate, but it was like hot garbage or something.
Hot garbage.
Hot garbage for lunch. and as a kid, it traumatized me. And so as an adult, I promised I would never subject my student to that. And one time I had like Mexican food for lunch, and my student was like, teacher, your breath smells bad. And I was like, run to the bathroom, brush your teeth.
I could give you a lot of stories about that. But for me, I have an additional problem is I do not have a sense of smell. So I can't discover it myself.
Really?
I rely on other people who either give me feedback that's trying to be polite or who tell me outright, which doesn't feel good, but I can't tell myself.
You know what? I actually have a few close friends. We have a pact because we are both a little anxious about the way, do we have body odor or do we have breath? And so because we're men, like this can happen.
No, women too.
And men will just say, listen, if I smell, it's your job to tell me. And if I smell and you don't tell me, I'm blaming you. This is a very man way of dealing with it, but it's come in hand a couple of times. Like, oh, where did you go today? Oh, I was out for a walk. Like, hey,
hot weather.
Yeah, go clean up real quick. And it saved me. And so our scents can identify each other. The way we breathe can identify each other. And here's an article about that very topic.
The thing is, for your own smell, you get used to it, so you often can't notice it even if you have a good sense of smell.
Yeah, I got 8 cats, and so sometimes I'm curious, does my house stink? And I've had people swear to me they don't, and I like to think they're honest with me because they're part of our bad breath, body odor, like blood pact.
Yeah, that's right.
But they, I still worry. Does it smell?
Okay, now we're going to find that it has a very practical use. So our title is Study Finds Your Breath Can Identify You. Now, there are many ways that we can find out if this person is you, if you have some kind of sample from your body or some kind of way of measuring something that's associated with you. So here's our article. Just like fingerprints, your breathing patterns may serve as a definitive identifier. In a recent study, scientists have demonstrated an astonishing 96.8 accuracy in identifying individuals based on their respiratory patterns. This revelation could open up new possibilities in biometrics and personalized health monitoring.
The notion of using individual breathing patterns as a distinct biological signature has long been a topic of discussion within the respiratory science community. Yet a practical method for measurement remained elusive. This changed with the invention of a tiny, wearable device capable of extended recording. Researchers deployed a lightweight tube designed to fit inside the participant's nose to track nasal airflow over 24 hours. From an initial study involving 97 participants, the team found that just 1 hour of recording yielded a 43% identification accuracy, which soared to 96.8% over a 24-hour period. A follow-up study on 42 participants revealed that these unique respiratory characteristics remain stable and distinguishable for up to 2 years, highlighting their potential as a long-term biometric marker.
The study also uncovered a correlation between breathing patterns and mental well-being. participants with higher scores on anxiety questionnaires exhibited shorter inhalation periods and more frequent breath pauses during sleep. We intuitively assume that how depressed or anxious you are changes the way you breathe, says one researcher involved in the study. But it might be the other way around. If this proves true, then training people to adjust their breathing may offer a novel approach to managing conditions like anxiety or depression. That is really interesting. Let's go back to the beginning. Our title again is Study Finds Your Breath Can Identify You. But I have to say the first thing I think of is governments are finding more and more ways to track us down.
That's actually, I thought of that too. I was thinking that's a little paranoid in thinking in, kind of, all right, the government can identify me based on our breath. But aren't they always looking for ways to track people? So it makes sense. It reasons that they would want to use this information if it's a reasonable way of checking.
They already have many ways that are currently being used. One of them is our gaits are unique, the way we walk. So if they have a video of you walking down the street, they can identify it as you with almost 100% accuracy.
I pointed this out to people a long time ago in Taiwan. I said, I can tell a person, so I need to wear glasses for distance. People never see me wearing glasses because I need them for driving. But I don't drive in Taiwan, so I never wear my glasses. But I told them, even though my eyesight is fuzzy at a distance, I can tell a foreigner just by the way they walk.
That's right.
And people think I'm crazy. And I said, I guarantee you, if we walk fast and we walk past that person, I'll bet him 500 NT. That's a foreigner. And I'm right almost every single time. It is the easiest money I'll make all day.
And actually, Europeans will say they can often distinguish Americans from Europeans.
Oh, that's so true. The American lean. Americans love to lean on things.
That's true.
I lean on things, and I try to be aware of that.
I tell my kids not to.
Also, the way we squat, the Asian squat, the Eastern Europeans are good squatters. Yeah, that's funny.
So anyway, another way to track us down. All right. So our first paragraph, just like fingerprints, your breathing patterns may serve as a definitive identifier. So now your patterns of breathing, like how long it takes for you to inhale and exhale, etc., those may be ways to identify you.
I want you to underline this phrase, definitive identifier. I like this phrase, but we have a more specific term that we'll use later in this paragraph and at the end of paragraph 2.
Here, what it means is we can be pretty much absolutely sure that it is you by using this method. In a recent study, scientists have demonstrated an astonishing 96.8% accuracy in identifying individuals based on their respiratory patterns. Now, that's something I've never thought of, but I think that it's something that we unconsciously do anyway. So, for example, if you're hearing somebody breathe with some difficulty, you'll assume perhaps that they have allergies or they have like some kind of congestion. If you hear them breathing in another way, you may assume that they're very heavy because their body weight makes them breathe differently. And their age, if they are little children, if they're teenagers, they all breathe a bit differently. So I think we unconsciously already use this to some extent.
I think you are totally correct in this because I know as a teenager, my mom didn't mind me staying up late, but my mom was like a heavy woman, and she was a loud snorer.
Oh.
And I didn't want to bother her. I wasn't trying to be sneaky. I was just staying up later than my mother. Her bedroom was close to the TV, and so I would listen to her snore. Oh. And if she suddenly stopped, I made sure the TV wasn't too loud. I was identifying what my mother was doing based upon her normal sleeping rhythm or patterns of sleep.
That's right. So you knew how long you could have, or how loud you could have the TV on.
That's right. Or if my friends were over, we were playing games. Hey, guys, quiet, right? Don't bother mom. She's letting us stay here, letting us have fun. Just be quiet, which I thought was very respectful of us.
Okay. So our next sentence, this revelation could open up new possibilities in biometrics and personalized health monitoring. Now, my feeling is the biometrics makes me feel, oh no, the government has another way of catching us. And for me, I'm more sensitive about it because of what's happening in the U.S., how they are identifying illegal immigrants or something like that. Makes me feel kind of awful, or they're trying to track you down for who knows what. But personalized health monitoring, that certainly is positive, because if they can find out through your breathing patterns what a health condition is, maybe they can give you a diagnosis and treatment earlier.
So here we have 5 good words in this paragraph 5 words I really like. To demonstrate is to show. Accuracy is how correct you are. Your respiratory pattern uses the word respiratory. That means how you breathe.
And by the way, you should note that some Brits pronounce it respiratory.
I also hear people say respiratory. I hear that sometimes.
Yep.
I don't say that. Karen and I happen to drop that
Respiratory.
And we also have the word revelation. Revelations are surprising and previously unknown facts being kind of shown to people.
Keep in mind that's also the name of the last book of the New Testament, the book of Revelations, and it's a really weird book for many reasons.
And biometrics is the study and the science of identifying people based on their physical characteristics.
Right. And monitoring also might give you that creepy feeling, but in the case of health monitoring, it's something that can really, really help you treat certain diseases or maybe live with certain diseases.
Okay, so at the very top, at the end of the first sentence, we had definitive identifier. I asked you to underline that in your magazine, and I want you to draw an arrow from biometrics to this word, because definitive identifier is a great phrase, but biometrics is the term that you probably should know.
That's right.
Okay, before we begin paragraph 2, Karen, so there are a number of definitive identifiers or biometrics available to scientists to kind of help positively identify you. We know breathing because our article here, but there are 7 other common ones. I wanted to know if you can guess, and as a matter of fact, you already said one earlier today.
Okay, so one I would say is blood.
Sure, blood is one for sure.
Okay. Another one, I don't know if it's in sweat. I don't know if they can use sweat for that, because I know that they can measure stress levels in sweat.
So sweat is one that doesn't have a high accuracy. I don't think sweat is used as an identifier to say, oh, we know
Who
this
you
person.
are. That's right.
That's
but
right.
It is used in lie detector tests to see how nervous you are.
That's right.
That's probably what I was thinking. Okay, and hair.
Hair for sure.
That's right. And let's see, I'm thinking skin flakes and things.
Well, that
No?
would have DNA for sure, so you could get DNA from that. You also mentioned your gait, so we can identify this person. That's probably this person based upon they walk.
That's right. And then I'm trying to think of saliva.
Saliva, also in your mouth.
That's right.
There's another one in your mouth.
Let's see.
Your teeth.
Your teeth. I didn't think of that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
then I
They'll
gotta pull them out.
identify
They're
you
gonna
by your
hand them.
teeth.
That's right. If they get a picture of them or an x-ray or something like that.
Here are some other ones. So we have your ears. The folds of your ears never change. They just grow larger with time. The proportion stays the same. Your body odor is a definitive identifier. Yeah.
Okay.
Not just your fingerprints, but the skin under your nails actually has a unique pattern.
Oh, really? I
Yes.
didn't know that one.
Your nose pores,
I didn't know that one either.
your skull, which I hope they never need to use.
Uh-huh.
And then in Japan, they recently discovered that your bum, your butt, your rump has a unique shape. And they have a special chair that allows, it's pressure sensitive, and they can
Really?
identify you based on your butt shape, which
Really?
doesn't that feel a little dirty?
It does, but I have to say that just as a human being living in human society, we look at butts all day. And I'm sure men do. They definitely for identifying attractive women or any kind of person. You've got butts in front of you if you're walking out on the street, and you're always evaluating this person, how old they are, how attractive they might be, how tall they are, if they're in good shape. We look at butts all day.
Yeah, and it's closely tied to your gait, so of course this makes sense.
That's so interesting. Let's move on.
All right, paragraph 2. The notion of using individual breathing patterns as a distinct biological signature has long been a topic of discussion within the respiratory science community, yet a practical method for measurement remained elusive.
Now, who knew that there was such a community? And they thought, well, we have a lot of interesting data, but can we actually use it with any degree of accuracy?
I bet you this is like one of those things that doctors that focus on respiratory, this is their specialty, the lungs, they notice these patterns. And I bet you there were doctors that could just hear the breathing and say, I know who this person is based on a recording. And then it kind of just clicked oh yeah, I wonder if this is true across all humans if your ear is attuned to it. And if that's true, how can you scientifically measure it?
And the other thing here is the word elusive. Elusive means it's something that you're trying to catch, but it keeps slipping away from you.
Think of like a mosquito you want to catch and put outside. You don't want to kill it. You catch it in your hands and put it outside. And of course, now it's turned into like a fighter jet and you can't catch it.
Okay.
This changed with the invention of a tiny wearable device capable of extended recording.
Now that makes me think of these special vision glasses that the high-tech companies are coming out with, where they're constantly recording every single thing that happens all day. Yeah, I know, kind of creepy. But this would be a little less intrusive because, as you'll see, it's just a small tube that fits inside your nose. And you probably think that's not quite as invasive as recording every word you say.
So wearable and capable both end in able. They are adjectives. It means you can wear it. And capable means you can do it. And extended just means for a long time. Researchers deployed a lightweight tube designed to fit inside the participant's nose to track nasal airflow over 24 hours.
I wonder how invasive it is. I don't know if I would like a tube in my nose all day. If there were a good reason, if it could help discover some kind of illness that I need treatment for, maybe okay. Even if it's a small tube, I don't know about that. And the other thing that's notable is the word deployed. Deployed actually just means to put something into use to achieve some kind of a goal. And the first thing I think of is a military. The military, you deploy a weapon, that means you are using it. And it's intended to attack the enemy in case you have need.
So the word nasal just means nose. And I agree, Karen. I mean, I know it's wearable and you can extend for a long time. Apparently it's not too invasive and it doesn't bother you, but that tube inside of my nose would probably make me crazy. At the age of 10, I started putting tissues in my pocket, in my left pocket. And every day in existence since the age of 10, I have had tissues in my pocket, in my left pocket, because I just have a little bit of a drippy nose every single day. And the idea of having something in my nose sounds kind of like a nightmare to me.
Yeah, I can well imagine.
From an initial study involving 97 participants, the team found that just 1 hour of recording yielded a 43% identification accuracy, which soared to 96.8% over a 24-hour period.
So that 1 hour of recording is definitely not useful enough. 43% is too low. It may be useful for some things, but it is not accurate enough. But over 24 hours, you're getting closer to 100.
43% is close enough to like a gambler's odds that I bet you in some weird universe that it would be like a Las Vegas game, because most games are a little bit less than 50% winnable by Las Vegas standards.
Right.
And so if a gambler has a 43% bet of guessing which person it is based upon some information, there are people out there that would look to hedge and kind of manage that bet, and they would try to inch that up closer to a 50-50 bet. And this could honestly be a weird kind of game in a different kind of universe.
But for scientific or medical purposes, it's not good enough.
Sure enough. A follow-up study on 42 participants revealed that these unique respiratory characteristics remained stable and distinguishable for up to 2 years, highlighting their potential as a long-term biometric marker.
So if they have taken your patterns or recorded your patterns over a 24-hour period, and then they just save this data, 2 years later, you could still use it to identify you. And that's kind of amazing, unless somehow your breathing pattern really changed.
So I wonder, in terms of medical application, where exactly they want to go with this. So, for example, some recent discoveries is that a lot of cancers have a particular or unique type of odor, and some dogs have been trained to identify them based on smell before scientists can observe them in the body, before doctors can find them.
Often when they're not trained, they will give you a message that something's wrong here.
And so if we have a particular odor, that means that there may be particular ways that impact the way you breathe. Let's say you have lung cancer or developing lung cancer. It may influence the way you breathe. And so if scientists can track this, then now you have another avenue of feedback.
Diagnosis.
Of saying, that's right. I can listen to this. There's a pattern here. This sounds like other people that have lung cancer, so on and so forth.
The last paragraph, the study also uncovered a correlation between breathing patterns and mental well-being. Now, this I find interesting and fairly convincing because some people breathe really shallow. So you think they must be really stressed. You know, they've got something going on and there's something not quite right. So participants with higher scores on anxiety questionnaires exhibited shorter inhalation periods and more frequent breath pauses during sleep. So apparently there is a correlation with stress or maybe some kind of emotional disturbance or whatever it is if you are not breathing very deeply.
And now before we go on to our next sentences, let's very quickly look at the word correlation. A correlation is a tie between two things, but they're not necessarily a cause. Those are different. For example, there's a correlation between shark attacks and the purchase of ice cream. The more ice cream you buy, the more likely you are to be attacked by sharks. Not because sharks love ice cream, it's just because hot weather means people go to the beach and they buy ice cream. And if there are more people in the water, there's a higher likelihood of sharks biting you. That doesn't mean they're a cause. There's just a relationship, a correlation. And look at the word questionnaire. There are two N's in this word. That's just a weird spelling of English. Underline the two N's. Pay attention.
Yep, it's another French word. We intuitively assume that how depressed or anxious you are changes the way you breathe, says one researcher involved in the study. So, like we were saying, without even thinking about it much, we do notice how other people breathe, especially if it makes any kind of a noise. And we will make conclusions or think of possibilities that maybe this person is sick or they're nervous or they're overweight or all kinds of things based on how they breathe.
And just before we continue, pay attention to the word S-A-Y-S. Yeah, this is a real easy word, but it's pronounced says. It's a word I go on and on about in my classroom, and my students don't listen to me.
Yeah.
So I play a video from Karen and said, you want to argue with the tie-dye professor? You can argue with the Bushiban teacher. You going to argue with Karen? And they all listen. So thank you, Karen.
That's right. It's an exception, and I have to tell you that in some British dialects, even some American dialects, people do say says. For example, there's a very popular podcaster, and he's from near Newcastle in the north, and he says says. He's one of the most articulate people I've heard online, and he says says. It's part of his dialect, but it is not mainstream English, either British or American. S-A-Y-S is says. S-A-I-D is said. Let's go on to our next sentence. But it might be the other way around. And this is fascinating. The next sentence will explain it. If this proves true, then training people to adjust their breathing may offer a novel approach to managing conditions like anxiety or depression. So if you're one of those shallow breathers, if you're taught to breathe more deeply, it may help calm you down because that is really the basis of meditation.
And with all this talk of breathing, let me just say you are now aware you're breathing and you're on manual control.
That sounds like it's from a TV series.
So, yeah, it's something that people will do to remind themselves, hey, you're breathing. And you're like, oh, now I have to think about it.
Exactly. Very good. That's it for today. Tune in next time. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.